I'll begin. Okay, so we are on record. So let us start. Okay, so this is network analysis. All right, this is there in your the page which you can see on your screen is also there in the book which has been provided from the college to you. And I have no idea whether you have collected those books or not, but this is a page from that book only, from where if the book which you were given from the college, okay, as study material. All right, so it's in chapter 15. It's about network analysis. Now, what is all about network analysis? For that, you have to know first that what is network scheduling. Okay, only if you know the meaning of network scheduling, then you can only apply the technique of network analysis. Okay, there will be a lot of diagrams in it. You have to draw diagram and solve problems, something like that. So let us first read what is network scheduling. Okay, it is a technique which is used for planning and scheduling large projects in the field of construction, maintenance, fabrication, and purchasing of computer systems, etc. Say, for example, in a particular company is there which deals with only big projects. Okay, big projects in the sense where a lot of investment is involved, a lot of capital is involved, which takes a lot of time, which takes a lot of manpower, which takes a lot of resources, in one word. So whatever, suppose a company is there and that company only deals with those big projects for which lot of planning and investment is required. So in order to accomplish those projects successfully, network scheduling is very important. Okay, this is called a technique that is used for planning that those big projects and scheduling, also scheduling all the resources, what resources will be used in which places at what time, by whom, by what process. Everything is decided in the scheduling technique of network. Okay, and for example, the very good example for this type of large projects are related to construction. Say a construction is going on for a big apartment, it doesn't happen within one day or 1 month, right? It takes a lot of time. So you can relate my description with the example. Suppose a construction is going on, then a large building maintenance. You saw a few days ago, Cosmos went into maintenance, right? So when it was on maintenance, it was taking a lot of time, and some portion of the mall was completely vacated, and it was locked in one way. So what was happening out there? That company which was doing the maintenance job, it had already prepared a schedule for that network, and then it had moved on to making the project. Then fabrication, purchasing of computer systems. Suppose you want to install a complete new systems in your company. So then you cannot just go to a dealer and buy the computers and set it up. This doesn't happen like that. You have to contact not only the software providers but also the hardware amenities provider and everyone related to the installation of those systems, and then prepare a perfect plan, then schedule all the resources and then move on. So network scheduling should be taken by you as an idea or as a technique that is used for the planning and scheduling of big projects. Okay. Now it is a method of minimizing the trouble spots. Now why this is done actually? The main objective of network scheduling is to minimize the trouble spots that may increase the cost, that may increase the time of the project completion. In order to minimize those trouble areas, this network scheduling is done. Now, what could be the trouble areas? The trouble areas can be in the production process. They can be in the delays and interruptions. Then It can be anything, right? Delays in the sense some manpower has backed out, then some systems is not working properly, the planning was not good, the selection of the system was not good, that's why that delay occurred, interruptions occurred. So all those trouble spots will get minimized if you follow a perfect network schedule. Then how this is done? It is done by determining critical factors and coordinating various parts of the overall job. So you have to determine the critical factors. Critical factors in the sense that suppose a particular project is going to carry on for long 2 years. Then in this 2 years tenure, there will be summers, there will be winters, there will be monsoon, right? The season will change. And suppose the project is such that it cannot work during the time of winter, so you have to consider that critical factor while determining the schedule. Okay, so in scheduling all these critical factors, what can happen in the future? Say now we are predicting a complete lockdown again, right? So if this happens, suppose we are preparing the schedule right now in the month of January, so we'll have to consider that critical factor as well. What to do if in case the nation again goes into complete lockdown? So all those critical factors have to be considered. Then various parts have to be coordinated. That means various areas that are related in the entire project, related to any company, those are involved, any manpower who are involved, any amenities which are involved in the entire project, all those has to be coordinated perfectly. Coordination means the timing, right? When we conduct a event, say for example you are conducting an event, the event is tomorrow, you cannot hire the entire amenity related to that event today, right? It will increase your cost. So coordination is going to play a very important role in scheduling, in network scheduling. Okay, so now how there are basically two important methods, two important planning techniques, you can say, or network analysis techniques that are widely used in operations research. Those two techniques are known as PERT and CPM. Now, what are these PERT and CPM? There are two basic planning and controlling techniques that utilize a network to complete a predetermined project or schedule. These are PERT stands for PERT stands for Program Evaluation Review Technique, and CPM stands for Critical Path Method. Basically, in this chapter, you will have to learn these two techniques properly. There are mathematical calculations involved here. There are skills of drawing involved here. Okay, you have to draw and then solve the sums. This will be something like that. A project is defined as a combination of interrelated activities, all of which must be executed in a certain order for its completion. So this definition of project, then what are the 3 steps involved here? There will be few more terms you will have to learn. Okay, there will be little bit of theory in this chapter. So first thing that till today's discussion, first thing that you have to learn is network scheduling. Second thing you have to learn is the definition, short definition of a project. What is a project? A project is defined as a combination of interrelated activities. Okay, interrelated. One department cannot work without the coordination of the other department. So this interrelation or interrelated activities are going to be involved in a project, all of which must be executed in a certain order for its completion. So all these activities, all those tasks have to be completed or has to be executed in a particular order for its successful completion. Okay, the work involved in a project can be divided into 3 phases. Now, if suppose the definition of project has been asked for say 5 marks, then you cannot just write one single line, right? Then you can include these 3 phases of a of the project. So a project will be completed in 3 stages. The first stage will be of planning, the second stage will be of scheduling, and the third stage will be of controlling. That means evaluating whether you're going on the right track or not. So once we are starting the project, the first work that we will have to do is planning. This phase involves setting the objectives of the project as well as the assumptions to be made. It also involves the listing of tasks or jobs that must be performed in order to complete a project under consideration. In this phase, in addition to the estimates of costs and duration of the various activities, the manpower, machines, and materials required for the project are also determined. That means the entire resources that will be involved in the project execution, all those will have to be determined at this phase. Okay, not only the resources, the cost and the timing associated with those resources will have to be determined. That means you have to go through the entire project execution, but in pen and paper. You have to use pen and paper and then prepare the blueprint of the entire project in this phase. Okay, and then once you are done with the project execution in paper, you have to move on to the practicality of the project, which makes the second phase. The second phase is called scheduling. This consists of laying the activities according to their order of precedence and determining the following things. This scheduling phase is all about your PERT and CPM. In this phase, this PERT and CPM model will be used. What is the full form of PERT? You can see at the top. This is Program Evaluation Review Technique and Critical Path Method. These two techniques will be, in fact, used in this phase, that is scheduling. When you will understand the entire PERT and CPM model, you will be able to easily determine the start and finish time for each of the activities that are involved in the project. The critical path means which is the best path that will minimize the cost and also the time, but the objective will not be compromised. The project objective will remain same, but which is the best path, or which is the best way, or which is the best coordinated loop for completing all the activities on time and with incurring of the lowest cost possible. So that is the second thing you will be able to determine in scheduling. And the third thing is the slack and float for the non-critical paths. What is the meaning of slack and float? I will explain it when I will explain the PERT and CPM model. Okay. Otherwise, you will not understand now. These are related to mathematical calculation. Okay. So 2 things you understand now. Third thing you will understand once you solve the sums. And then, so scheduling is done. You are able to execute the project, determine the best path when you are into the practical field, and you can finish off the project on time with the inclusion of minimum cost possible. Then third phase will come. Third phase is all about controlling. This phase is exercised after the planning and the scheduling. Now, what will happen in this controlling phase? Just a moment. Someone is trying to join. Okay. So, what will happen in this controlling phase? It will involve the following 4 things. What are the 4 things? They will be making of periodical progress reports. That means how far you have progressed. Suppose the project is for 2 years. After every 3 months, you are preparing a progress report and matching it with the planned one, whether you are on the right track or not. So that will be done in controlling phase. Then reviewing the progress. You will review the progress, whether you are really progressing or you are just investing money and taking time, but you are not progressing at all. You are at the same pace from where you started, or a little bit of progress has happened. The progress is not as expected. So that review will be done. Then third thing is analyzing the status of the project. Now, where the project is standing, whether you will be able to finish off on time or not. Once you review the progress, the analysis and status, the analyzing of the status of the project will also be done in the same phase. Fourth thing is making management decisions regarding updating, crashing and resource allocation, etc. Now, if you find that something is wrong, you are not going on the right track, then you need to involve the manager. Suppose you are a project manager, then you will also play an important part. Your subordinates has informed, has reported that the progress is not as decided or as expected, so you need to involve the other managerial personnel and then decide about what to do now. You need to update, you need to crash, or what you need to, how you need to allocate the resources. All those things has to be done in the controlling phase. Basically, this is like reviewing your performance as a project manager, as a project subordinate, or as a entire project coordinator. So you have to sit and then review your progress. If you are on the right track, okay. If not, then you need to take some solid decisions. Okay. So these are the three stages or three works that will be done in the process of a project. Okay. Now, I hope you are listening to me. These definitions which you can see on your screen, there are some terms in bold and then a line is written beside those terms. These are basically the terms which we are going to use in PERT and CPM. So you will have to understand what does these terms mean. Okay, the first, are you listening to me? Please say yes, ma'am. Few of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. All right. So, network. First term that we are going to use in network analysis is obviously network. Now, what is network? It is a graphic representation of logically and sequentially connected arrows and nodes representing activities and events in a project. Networks are also called arrow diagrams. The few of the arrows you can see on your screen and some circles also you can see on your screen. Basically, network will be a diagrammatic representation of these arrows and circles. Okay. But those arrows and circles will not be drawn like a child. Okay. They will have to be drawn logically and sequentially. That is the work of a project manager. When we use logic, when we use sequence, when we take practical things into consideration, and then we try to put it in a diagrammatic representation, that is nothing but a network. And network are also called arrow diagrams because there are a lot of arrows and circles and all. One arrow represents the circle, one is following circle 2, like that. So this is also called an arrow diagram. Okay. Now let us move on to the next definition, that is activity. What is the meaning of activity? When we will start doing the sum, I will use these terms only. I will not use circles and arrows. Okay. I will use activity, event, network, like that I will use. So by today you should be accustomed, or you should be aware of the meaning of all these terms by tonight itself. Okay. From tomorrow, I will use only these terms. I will not use a circle or arrow. So what is an activity? An activity represents some action, and it is a time-consuming effort necessary to complete a particular part of the overall project. So you know what is the meaning of activity. You are doing a project. If you have started on doing a project, then suppose an activity of, say, securing the raw materials is an activity. Now, for doing this activity, there has to be some inclusion of resources. So that activity will take some time. Also, some cost will be involved in doing that activity. So that is what that activity is also required for the overall completion of the project, and it is a part of the entire project. Okay, thus each and every activity has a point of time where it begins and where and also a point where it ends, isn't it? Suppose the activity is of procuring the raw materials, then it has to start someday. Say today it is starting. We are starting to procure the raw material. It will not be completed within 1 day or 1 hour for small projects. It will at least take 1 month of time. You will have to contact the raw materials provider. They will book the order. They will prepare the order. They will send it. It will reach you after some time. So this entire things will happen in the activity of procuring the raw materials. So definitely it will have an starting time and also it will have an end time, isn't it? So that entire thing will be represented with the help of an arrow. So when in your screen you can see an arrow and one circle at the beginning of the arrow and one circle at the end part of the arrow, right? Now what is this arrow signifies? Those circle I'm coming it later on, but what those arrow is signifying? The arrow is signifying an activity. Okay, it will start at a point and it will end at a point. All right. Quickly, let us move on to event. Otherwise, our explanation will remain incomplete. What is the event? The beginning and end points of an activity are called events or nodes. Okay, it is sometimes called nodes also. Event is a point in time and does not consume any resources. So the circle which you are seeing in at the beginning and at the end of that arrow are nothing but the events, also known as nodes. Okay, so event is just a point in time. Okay, say today is the starting event, so it is a tail event, and after 1 month is going to be the end event or end node. So that this is just a point of time. Okay, there will be no resources involved in it. In the activity, there may be resources, there will be resources, but in the event or nodes, there will not be any resources. It is represented by a numbered circle. The head event, called the jth event, always has a number higher than the tail event, which is also called the ith event. So it is understandable that jth event number will be higher, because if the activity is starting today, this is day 1, activity will end at the end of the month, say day 30. So 30 will always be more than 1. Whatever is the number, it will be the tail event, or sorry, the head event is always going to be higher than the tail event, isn't it? And what we call a head event, we call it the jth event, and we call the tail event as the ith event. Okay, so jth and ith event. What is jth event? Jth event is the point of time where the activity is ending. It is also called the head event. ith event is the point of time where the activity is starting. It is also called the tail event. Okay, so head event, tail event, network, arrow, or activity, these 3 or 4 things, you mug it up tonight. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, I will not mention it as an arrow. I will mention it as an activity. From tomorrow onwards, I will not mention the circles as circles. I will mention them as either head event or node or tail event or node. Okay. And what is this merge and burst events? Preceding, succeeding, concurrent activities, dummy activities. These are also very, very important. We will cover it up tomorrow. And some common errors in drawing. This will be the looks of a network analysis problem. Okay, this will look something like this. There will be events, there will be activities, there will be maybe sometimes dummy also. What is dummy? We'll do it tomorrow. So all those things will be there, and the entire network problem will look like this. And within this network problem, you will have to draw the numbers. There will be numbers. There will be mathematical calculation for solving this entire problem. Okay, we'll do it gradually. Once we finish off our discussion, we will start doing the sums. Okay, just a moment. Let me take your attendance. Okay, so please respond. Abhijit, Abhijit, Abhishna, Anurag, Aryan, Ashish,
Yes, ma'am.
Ashmita, Bibechna, Debrupa, Harshita, Ishika Chaudhary, Ishika Agarwal, Kajal,
Present, ma'am.
Kasak, Kushi,
Present, ma'am.
Krizan, Mahima, Mamta,
Yes, ma'am.
Muskan Prasad,
Yes, ma'am.
Muskan Gupta,
Yes, ma'am.
Namrata, Nidhi,
Present, ma'am.
Nitesh, Parnodeep, Pavan, Prashil, Pratiksha Chetri,
Present, ma'am.
Pratiksha Giri,
Present, ma'am.
Priyanka, Pooja,
Present, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Rahul, Rajat, Ramkrishna, Rohit Bansal, Rohit Pandey, Sagar, Salina,
Present, ma'am.
Shalini, Shruti,
Present, ma'am.
Siddhant, Saurav, Sobhit, Supriya, Suraj, Swayam,
Present, ma'am.
Tanya, Vinit. Okay, you can leave the class. See you again at 9:20 after 1 hour. Okay, bye-bye.